When Arata awakens, he ends up grabbing his disturbed cousin Hijiri. Despite his earnest attempts to assuage what is happening, Hijiri decides to rebuff him. Hijiri keeps on being puzzled during breakfast, and Arata is baffled by her way of behaving, in any event, alluding to a drawing she did as a kid a lot to her humiliation. Following that, they walk together to their school. However, Arata sees the sun has turned dull. All things considered, Hijiri happens about her the same old thing. Perplexed, Arata decides to disregard seeing an obscure young lady in her school uniform moving toward them, requesting that he stir or she will dispense with him. The young lady previously evaporated before he could answer. Arata considers the puzzling young lady's admonition in class. Hijiri meets Arata on the top of the school and inquires as to whether the sun has forever been dark, which she confirms. Hijiri proceeds to say that this has forever been the case since this is the world he wanted. She likewise offers to surrender to his longings, assuming that he chooses to remain with her. Unexpectedly, Arata reviews Hijiri disappearing and begging him to recall her, thus he thinks Hijiri being a counterfeiter, which she denies. The baffling young lady from the morning discharge a slug at Hijiri, yet she effectively redirects the trap with a hindrance. Hijiri perceives the young lady as a mage, while Arata perceives her because of her enormous bosoms, which the young lady presents herself as Lilith Ostomy in a humiliating way. Following that, Hijiri turns around her spell, uncovering the whole town to be in ruins. Lilith makes sense of that a calamity 3 days prior obliterated their whole town, provoking Arata to review the occurrence as the town burns to the ground and individuals evaporate. Hijiri gives Arata a grimoire and asks that his desire be conceded to save him, much to show up at a shock. Hijiri then again is just give a few guidelines prior to kissing him until she evaporates. Arata then gets himself alone in a vacant world, declining to acknowledge his destiny. He requests that the grimoire return the world to ordinary, and the grimoire starts to work. Lilith makes sense of that she was sent from her school to research the breakdown peculiarity, just to find that sound unaffected after Arata understands that his desire to the grimoire was the reason. The grimoire uncovers that she had the option to reproduce the world effortlessly. In spite of Lilith, its advance notice that such sorcery is hazardous. Thus, she gives Arata two choices: give up the grimoire and his recollections in return for harmony, or be killed, all things being equal. Arata then again contemplates whether Hijiri is as yet alive, which the cerebrum more affirms in light of the fact that she can project her picture. When Arata finds this data, he chooses a third choice as opposed to giving up or passing on. Arata shows up at the Royal Biblia Institute's entrance at some point later, where Lilith welcomes him. However, she's shocked by the circumstance. Utilizing the grimoire he has, Arata uncovers his choice to turn into a mage to an unexpected Lilith. While Lilith questions a wild capacity to become one, he pronounces that he will, no matter what the conditions, regardless of the way that they are a similar age. Arata affirms that Lilith is an educator as they stroll to class. After that, Lilith presents Arata as a student from another school in the homeroom. Before another understudy, Selena, begins posing him individual inquiries, which he speedily addresses. Selena then again asks with regards to whether he had the option to play out a world remaking, an accomplishment just an evil spirit ruler is equipped for. The class becomes excited by the presence of the competitor when Arata unavoidably affirms. Selena later gets the news out about a crudeness devil master sorcery around the institute. In spite of Lilith's fights, expert Biblia is entertained by the circumstance in the dean's office. Regardless, Arata is welcomed to the foundation by the dean, who makes sense of that Biblia as a mysterious association that instructs mages and doles out missions. Albeit the head administrator is uncertain, Arata asks on the off chance that he will actually want to save Hijiri, assuming that he turns into a magus. Notwithstanding, Arata inquired as to whether there are any easy routes, which she denies, yet Ace Biblia proposes that he meet and rule the Trinity Seven, the Foundation's 7 master female mages. Beside that, Lilith is uncovered to be one of them. After the gathering, Lilith exhorts Arata not to genuinely take the head administrator's words. Following that, he sees a ninja concealing on the roof who presents herself as Levi Kasama, a ninja who happens to likewise be a mage. Levi is likewise an individual from Trinity Seven as per Lilith, when Mira Yamana and Akio Fudo. 2 different individuals turned out to be headed to a mission. Arata asks about the leftover individuals. Arata sees that most of the majors are female, which Levi makes sense of because of sorcery's accentuation on feelings. Accordingly, young ladies are all the more normally attracted to sorcery. However, Lilith cautions that they should likewise control their cravings. When Arata and Levi keep on prodding Lilith in an unseemly way, the humiliated educator rebuffs Arata prior to passing on. Amazingly, Levi sees that Lilith has become more expressive since meeting him. Arata goes through the night alone in his room contemplating the whereabouts of the grimoire, which shows up around his neck and encourages him to scrub down for adhering to the grimoire's guidelines. Arata enters the men's bathhouse just to find an exposed young lady who looks like tremendously, who doesn't appear to mind his presence. Arata in the end leaves prior to running into Lilith, notwithstanding his earnest attempts to seem uninterested. Arata attempts to clarify for Lilith that he saw Hijiri in the shower, whom Lilith misdistinguishes as Eren Kanazuki, another Trinity Seven part. At the point when Lilith understands what is going on, she berates Eren, while Arata talks about Eren's similarity to Hijiri with the grimoire before Lilith advises him that he's not wearing anything below. He thinks that Eren and Trinity Seven will mean quite a bit to him later on. Eren gazes at an uncomfortable Arata in Lilith's class. Lilith is likewise uncertain about the circumstance, so suggestive inquiries are about it. When Arata attempts to eat in the cafeteria, Eren basically notices him. Eren follows Arata through the hallways until she attempts to enter the men's bathroom with him, causing him a deep sense of shock. Following that, he asks with respect to why she was following him, to which Eren answers that she was noticing the devil ruler up and Comer as his accomplice prior to leaving. Arata is shocked to track down Lilith, Selena and Levi in his room later. Selena and Levi both make sense of why they need to accumulate data, and Lilith says she'll be there to direct them. Arata demands that they show him enchantment after Selena's meeting, which Lilith happily acknowledges. Selena and Cutesy then again see that she will consent to any instructive circumstance, fantasizing about a sensual scene among Lilith and Arata. Notwithstanding this, suggestive grills Lilith about his grimoire, which she uncovers to be the still original copy, an unbelievable grimoire containing information from a different universe. Lilith proceeds to make sense of Thema, an idea that each mage researches in the documents of the 7 lethal sins. In any case, a power outage happens startlingly while the Astil composition gives light. The gathering winds up caught inside a room with an obstruction. Regardless of knowing how to get out, Astil chooses to rest while the remainder of the gathering looks for the exit. Thus, Arata attempts to separate the entryway with a seat, yet without any result, much to the young lady's shock. Notwithstanding, because of the standards of sorcery, they rapidly understand his expectations to act without reason. The gathering then examine the guilty party's inspiration, which they accept is to decide Arata's solidarity. Regardless of the way that he definitely knows who the culprit is, he chooses to track with outside Eren and someone else peered down from the highest point of a rooftop at the circumstance. The gathering scans the space for an exit plan, yet tracks down no pieces of information to assist them with getting away. In spite of Arata's idea that they rest, Selena and Cutesy gripe about the absence of a restroom. Sadly, they found Lilith critically requires the utilization of the bathroom before different young ladies do, with no different choices. Arata counsels Astil, only to find that the grimoire is drowsy. Thus, Arata, Levi and Selena chose to utilize her state to beguile the grimoire into accepting they found the arrangement, causing Astil to accidentally uncover the source under the bed. The obstruction disappears after the young ladies annihilate the mysterious source underneath the bed, permitting them to run away to the restroom. The Astil composition is entertained by Arata's ploy and enthusiastically anticipates his decision of Thema, while the Arata is new to the idea of a Thema. Eren shows up to make sense of that. A Thema is a long-lasting exploration project that permits mages to utilize wizardry, and Arata derives from her timing that she was the person who raised the obstruction, which Eren concedes regardless of her activities. Arata says he's not irritated in light of the fact that he saw the young lady's urgent necessities to pee. However, he's confounded when Eren offers to do the same. Due to her similarity to Hijiri prior to getting to know her, Arata becomes unsound while collaborating with Eren, as indicated by the Astil original copy. As the two become companions, Arata asks about Eren's choice to lock his room. Eren answers a lot shockingly that he is the Devil Master competitor, as expressed by the Dean before. Master Biblia shows up from a window, thus the two decide to disregard the director and carry on their discussion elsewhere. Much to Biblia's shock, Arata and Lilith proceed with their examination of Eren in the clinic. Ace Biblia expressed that in the event that the devil ruler up and Comer was set in an unpleasant circumstance, another breakdown peculiarity could happen as per Eren. Arata settles on the choice to rebuff the superintendent, yet Lilith has previously completed the discipline. In the interim, inside a bursting heater, a bound-head administrator is unnerved. While Lilith is interested by the breakdown peculiarity, Eren decides to make sense of it by changing into her Magus mode and making Arata's sorcery become temperamental, subsequent to eliminating the seals on his enchantment from the Astil composition. A separate peculiarity happens thus. However, Eren is inflexible about proceeding with the trial for her exploration. She didn't anticipate that the impacts should be all around as solid as they were. Selena meets with Cutesy, who illuminates her that a breakdown peculiarity is taking place. Outside of the institute, Ace Biblia finds Erin's jokes entertaining, however she can't permit the school to close as Arata's sorcery turns out to be progressively sporadic. Lilith chooses to mediate, yet Erin won't let her no matter what the result. But in the wake of finishing their latest mission, Akil and Mira show up all of a sudden. Mira utilizes her super bio document wizardry to kill the breakdown peculiarity while likewise deadening Erin and Lilith's developments, offering Akio the chance to dispense with Arata. Prior to managing the last strike, Akio apologized to Arata. That's the end of the video, guys. If you like what you watched, then a subscribe to the channel would be pretty awesome.